Nursing, a profession that requires patience, passion, and a stomach of steel. Many people say it takes a special person to become a nurse, but what exactly does that entail? I spoke to 22-year-old Nancy, fresh blood in the nursing world, to see just what kind of person it takes to work the night shift on a job commonly referred to as hectic and difficult.
I chose nursing because I've worked with the geriatric population. The geriatric is the older population since I was about 16 or 17 years old. So I just kind of found it natural to go into nursing, and my passion, one of my passions, caring for people and helping them and taking care of them. So that's what I decided to do when I got out of high school.
As well as being a nurse, Nancy works the night shift, which happens to be a whole lifestyle on its own. I discovered there's a sort of dichotomy between the shifts from talking to her. She explains how other nurses view the night nurses.
We always report off to the next shift, and I've had people make comments that they feel like they know what they're doing better than the people on the night shift, and that could just be, some sort of tendency for us to view the day shift to seem like that, like they think that they're better, or maybe they really do. But sometimes their attitudes are, it's the night shift, they'll just take care of you and hold the fort until we come back, and I think a lot of them who have never worked nights don't realize that we do a lot of work. We're the ones, if a doctor's on call, we're the ones waking up the doctor. And guess what? He's pretty pissed off that you woke him up. So to be a night shift nurse, you kind of have to have backbone. And I think all nurses do have a very, they need a backbone, but to be a night shift nurse, if you're gonna try to get orders from a doctor, or if a patient's complaining of pain and it wasn't really addressed during the day and you have to call at 1 in the morning, you might want to be ready to get yelled at by the doctor. But we understand that we do what we have to do. And if the doctor yells at us, that's okay. And so I think that, day shift kind of thinks that they're the best, but not everyone, just some of the nurses.
Still, even though she works different hours, the tasks Nancy completes are the same jobs the other nurses do.
It can get pretty busy, but it depends on when I start. Sometimes I start at 7 p.m., sometimes I start at 11, and I'll either do an 8-hour shift or a 12-hour shift. If it's a 12-hour shift, I always start by assessing my patients, and then I pass some medications, and usually something crazy will occur, like patient pooping on the floor. It really depends on the patient load. I can get between 4 and 6 patients, and what I'll do is I'll assess them, give them their medications. Usually they have 9 o'clock p.m. medications and sometimes midnight meds, and then I can get an admit. An admission is when I get a new patient coming from the emergency room, and then they come onto our floor and I have to ask them a bunch of questions like vaccination updates, things about their medical history and things like that, and then I call the doctor. And then throughout the night, there really never is a dull moment. Something usually happens. Somebody has chest pain, maybe a patient will fall, which is not good. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen.
Nancy describes her average week, which is a lot different from the typical worker's schedule. Staying up all night has its drawbacks, even in her social life.
It consists of about 3 to 4 shifts at the hospital. It's because sometimes I work 12 hours or 8 hours, so I don't work 5 days a week. So I'll work 3 or 4 days, nights I mean, and then I'll go to sleep. On my days off, I study because I'm also going to school online, and otherwise I'll exercise and socialize if I can. Working night shift, sometimes it's kind of hard to have a social life because it makes you really, really tired. I get tired really easily because sometimes I don't get a lot of sleep, sometimes I sleep too much. Yeah, because the schedule is very irregular. A lot of people are sleeping when I'm awake, or I get too tired because I sometimes stay up the entire day. If I have a night off, I will tend to stay up and then I crash around 9 o'clock at night. And that's when people usually want to go out. But I'm working on that.
I was surprised to learn that rather than using empathy, nurses rely on knowledge and understanding. A night shift nurse must be flexible, reliable, responsible, and able to handle whatever they are tossed. In a life where nights are days and days are nights, it's hard not to be in a whole separate world. Night shift nurses truly stand apart from the crowd.